The spirit molecule, DMT, said to connect you with yourself, the universe, even God. One way to experience it, you smoke it, and it takes you off within seconds. The other is an indigenous-led ceremony with ayahuasca. The same compound, two totally different experiences. And it's important to know which one to choose in your process, because if you choose the wrong one, it can be that you're left more confused than connected. Here's what you need to know. Let's start off about the effects and the intensity. With the DMT, you smoke it, and the effects last usually between 15 to 20 minutes. Yet in your own experience, it can feel a lot longer as well. The DMT is also a very visionary experience. It's very marvelous in a sense. You can even meet entities in that realm. It's something very strange and magnificent at the same time. More about that later. On the ayahuasca, on the contrary, it takes about 5 to 8 hours. It's a brew from the Amazon which also contains DMT. That's one of the plants. The other plant uh, contains an MAO inhibitor, which stops the absorption of the DMT, which makes it a longer experience. But it's also important to note that it's not just the DMT which is active in ayahuasca. There's about 12, 13 different alkaloids that help with emotional regulation, neuroplasticity, and there's a whole mystery, a whole wisdom, a whole tradition behind it. If you want to be a bit provocative, you can say chemistry versus nature. And the indigenous actually don't like it when you reduce ayahuasca to DMT. There's so many amazing features that the shamans have been able to do. If you look at recently, I think it was in 2023 in Colombia, there was a plane missing where 4 or 5 kids survived, but they were lost in the Amazon. And then indigenous military were looking for them, and also through the help of the ayahuasca, they were able to uh, rescue the children. And that's just one of the many marvelous things that these healers have been able to do with these plants. And they say if you reduce it to this one little molecule, then you do a disservice to the spirit of the plant. Also, the indigenous, they see it that if you take a plant out of its ritual ceremonial context, that's when abuse starts to happen. You can see it with the tobacco, you can see it with the coca, something which in its essence are sacred plants that many indigenous communities all throughout the world, especially the tobacco, the coca more in Latin America, have used for centuries and help guide them, help with their different purposes. Yet once you extract them, take them out of their ritual ceremonial context, that's when cancer comes in, that's when addiction comes in, that's when abuse comes in. So I think it's something that we need to be aware of, that we are walking a little bit of a fine line. To me, I smile a bit when people try to compare DMT and ayahuasca because they're so different in the nature of their experience. And it's also natural that we as humans, we want to compare, we want to rationalize, we want to understand where these stand with each other. And I've made other videos on comparing ayahuasca to psilocybin mushrooms and to Vachuma, and I'll make one on peyote as well. And I feel like those, Bufo too, those are all in the category of of ancestral medicine, of something that's been done for many generations, that has a ceremonial context to it, that there's a lot of wisdom around it. And then there's more the newer mm, medicine. I don't know what to call it, but like the other substances like ketamine, MDMA, in that sense, DMT as well, which are a lot newer in that spectrum. And I'm not saying that you cannot have therapeutical benefits through these, but we are comparing something completely different in the essence of these two. With ayahuasca, it's not just the brew itself, it's the ceremonial aspect that comes around it. It's the shaman who's been training the majority of his life, the generations that these indigenous elders have passed down the wisdom of these plant medicines. It's the fire, it's the atmosphere, it's the energy of it, the wisdom that is passed down. That to compare it to DMT that you might smoke on your couch, I feel like are two totally different experiences. Let's talk about the benefits. With the DMT, it can be friend of mine recommends it, that if you have a specific thing that you want to explore, that it can give you a glimpse, it opens you up, you can receive that answer, and you can come back as well. I've also had people who have come here and they actually said that they started their healing journey through DMT and those therapeutic effects that they've had through it. So for some people, it also starts more as a recreational use with DMT, and then it transitions over to that therapeutical use as well. With the ayahuasca, a huge benefit is actually the purging aspect of the medicine. The physical reactions is vomiting and or diarrhea, and also trauma is stored in the body also as resistance, and this helps to flush it out, helps to release it. So it's a physical release, but apart from a physical release, it's also a great emotional and spiritual cleansing as well. Throughout the ayahuasca, you also can, it's an introspective journey, and there's a lot of comprehensions that can come to you. It can work on the think, a lot of people think about divisions when thinking about the effects of ayahuasca, but it's not just about the visions that you have with your eyes closed or eyes open. It's a lot more what the thoughts that you have, the feelings, the comprehensions that are coming to you. And the intensity of the experience can vary a lot from more of a softer physical side to blast off as well in that sense. And knowing that these medicines, they tend to give us exactly what we need at the time, and they're going to work in the profoundness that we need at that time as well. I talked in other videos as well that I feel like there's a big misconception that a lot of people are very much focused on the experience itself. And of course, the experience can be super powerful or not, or confusing or whatever, but that's just one part of the experience. The preparation and even more the integrations, how you feel in the days, the weeks, the months after, things that are triggering you, the intuitive hunches that you will have, the environments, how they start to feel different to you, and managing all of that. That's so much part of these medicines as well. In many ways, your life starts to realign, some parts will start to fall away, new parts will come as well. So it's important to not just reduce these medicines to the effects when you are in under the effect of them, but even more in the end, I feel like it's very important that people understand that even though we're talking about the same compound, they're two totally different things. One is that um, lineage, that wisdom that is around it, and the other one is more the scientification, the extraction of one molecule. I also understand that this might be more accessible to many people, yet also in those states, you probably would want somebody to help manage you or navigate you that is used to those states. But in the end, each can have their benefits. But if I would have the option, I would always choose the ayahuasca. But again, the best thing is you have your life, do what calls you the most. And I wish you all the best on your journey.